My name is Natasha Nix. I am the coordinator for Michigan Humane Society Cruelty Investigation and Rescue Department. My job would entail, when we come in the morning, of course we have messages from the evening, people that are wanting to report cruelties, people that need their dogs picked up and euthanized. We have several calls for injured confined strays and dogs on the freeway. Initially, go through, check the messages, and get everyone delegated and out on the road. So we're looking at getting East Unit for cruelty investigation, West Unit for cruelty investigation, and then 3 rescue drivers also out picking up animals. I had an owner call and say she didn't have any money, but that her dog, there was something wrong with her dog's eye, and that she needed him picked up and that she lacked transportation. So rescue arrived. The dog was lateral in the backyard, was lying in a corner. Severely matted, difficult to tell if the dog were alive or deceased. He approached, discovered the dog was in fact breathing, but in place of his eyes, the maggots had actually eaten his eyes and the bridge of his nose, his testicles, inside of his ears. It was a really severe case of neglect at best. So the rescue driver picks up the dog, he brings it in. At arrival, he'll notify a coordinator that he has a case that he thinks could become a potential cruelty case. I've been with the Michigan Humane Society for eight years now. I started at the clinic, and then I dispatched rescues through the shelter for 3 years, and now I've been in cruelty for 3 or 4 years. The definition technically of a stray would be a dog which was roaming at large. In Detroit, we have a lot of pet owners that simply allow their dogs out to roam. So I think a lot of the times animals that we have that we would quantify as stray are technically owned dogs that are loose and will return to their homes later that afternoon, usually. There are packs of stray dogs, but in my entire time, and I've lived here for 9 years, and my whole time here I've seen 1 pack of stray dogs. I think there are stray dogs within the city. I think there are a lot of abandoned dogs in the city that get loose, and I think there are a lot of people that leave their dogs to roam. I do not think, as I've heard estimates, and I don't know from where the numbers came, but I've heard estimates that there are between 50,000 and 100,000 stray dogs in the city of Detroit. And if we break that down, that's 350 to 700 per square mile in the city. That would be an enormous problem, and that's certainly not the city in which I live. I see maybe 1 stray a month, living and working and mostly shopping here. I would be irresponsible to guesstimate. See, we see a couple per square mile. I'll be interested to know what you find. Approximately how many animals per day? I think we usually have 70 to 100. There's variants, obviously, seasonal variants, weather variants. I know rescue, yeah, probably 70 to 100 a day. A lot of them are owner surrenders. A lot of them are stray dogs. Some of those dogs are reunited with their owners. We get dogs transferred from other shelters sometimes as well, and a lot of, there are groups, rescue groups, private parties that we would consider hoarders that call themselves rescue groups that will also surrender animals to us. In the event that non-open admission shelters have animals which need to be euthanized, they will surrender them to a shelter that can provide that service.
Now it's come up a couple of times between an open shelter and a non-open shelter, and Michigan Humane Society is an open shelter.
Correct.
Now, are they the only open shelter in the area?
To the best of my knowledge, we are the only completely open admission shelter in the state of Michigan.
What does that mean?
It means we will not turn you away. We will not turn animals away because they're not adoptable. We will not turn animals away because you do not live within the city in which the animal is surrendered. We won't turn animals away because the animal is aggressive, because the animal is too injured. There isn't a reason that you can give where we can turn animals away. The bottom line to me is abandonment, people losing homes. Working at the front counter at the shelter, the saddest thing that you'll see is families that truly love their animals, and their animals are being surrendered because they've lost their homes and they're going into no-pet housing. And that breaks your heart, because often what we deal with are animals that nobody loves, that nobody cries for when they pass, and that never have known what it's like to be loved. So when you see the animals that have loving families that simply cannot afford to keep them, it enrages you. Probably the one biggest fell swoop we could do to make a dent in the stray animal, and frankly, owned animal breeding, because most strays, come from homebred litters, I would guess.
So we don't think people are going out buying puppy mill puppies for the city of Detroit. This is not where the problem emanates from.
My experience with it's home breeding, yeah, and probably unintentional.
All right, what would you want to share with people? I mean, here you got a moment or two. What haven't I asked you that people should know? And it seems like you're pretty passionate about where you work here.
I am. I think the hardest thing for us right now is that all day, every day, through searing heat, through the deep freezes, I have my guys out in the field, literally, not to be melodramatic, but literally risking their lives, and they're picking up animals that can give you nightmares. You know, one of my rescue guys picked up a dog that we picked it up, he said his bones felt like a bag of potato chips. So this is all day, every day, they're out doing this, and to have, based on trend or whimsy, like community that we've been here for 134 years, turn its back on us, it feels like right now, is infuriating, because it feels like the people that are speaking do not know how badly it hurts the front line of staff that's been here all these years.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because this is kind of a unique time right at this moment in Michigan Humane's history, isn't it? Things are different at this moment for some reason, and it seems like all this work that you've been doing is it's been eroded from you.
It feels like all of the people that we have been there for have stepped back for a moment. Although it doesn't change, no matter how much negative publicity we get, it doesn't lower the amount of cruelty calls I take. It doesn't lower the amount of rescue calls we take. If anything, we've had an increase, and it certainly does not lower the number of animals which are coming into our shelter. So still, even in light of disparaging press, we're still here where we have been and where we will be. We're still here serving the community, because that is the whole intent of our organization. That's why we do what we do. It's not for the money.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that and being very impassioned about it. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me.
Yes.
And this is for me, selfish.
Okay.
I want you to give me your name again, where you work, what you do, and I want to say, and you're watching the World Animal Awareness Society.
All right. Okay. My name is Natasha Nix. I work at the Michigan Humane Society Detroit Center for Animal Control and Care. I'm the Cruelty and Rescue Coordinator, and you are watching the World Animal Awareness Society.